In this video, we're going to show you about the various data layers within Muncie's Plat Pronto. First, we're going to start with this example that we've opened up. It's a survey, typical survey that has, in this particular case, a fairly large closure. Let's zoom in and we'll show you just how bad the survey is. Well, it's off by 52 feet. Now, for all practical purposes, you would be concerned about the survey, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to be looking at the layers and just how that data is displayed to you, and so that you know how to view errors in surveys. Now, if you go to the settings window, you'll see on the left hand side a number of quick settings. It says deeds. If you click on that, that's the default setting. That's a deed plot setting, and in the deed plot setting, the survey is not closed. It's not calculated for closure, so you don't get really the best estimate of acreage, but it will show you what it would be, what it thinks the acreage is, plus or minus some value. And this is the difference between the closed survey and an unclosed survey. Closure is the process by which the directions and distances are adjusted so that there's no gap in the survey. In other words, the survey proceeds from the beginning point to the end point and does not miss the end point. In this particular survey, if you sketched it all the way out with the direction and distances, it does not bring you back to the beginning point, and it's off by 52 feet. Now, the second quick setting is overlaps. If you're going to calculate a number of overlaps, you're going to have to do it from an adjusted survey. So what you need to take a look at is the layer information that's being displayed. We'll go back to deeds and we'll show you how that works, going from deeds to overlaps. In the deeds, if you look on the right hand side here, you see a number of settings under lines, points, line label, and point label. You'll see that input is selected. Well, these are the layers: the input layer, the adjusted layer, and the tract layer. The input layer is the data that you input originally with your survey information. It's not adjusted for any kind of closure, precision, etc. It's just the raw data that you entered. The adjusted represents the data that has been adjusted, calculated for closure, and that uses a number of procedures, but it's primarily the compass rule. On the tract section, that particular data layer identifies what points and calls represent each tract. It does not involve any adjustment, etc., but that particular data layer allows you to display tract information. Now, so that you can actually take a number of points, boundary points, and create a tract just from that description. But we're not going to go into that in this particular video. We're just going to describe it as that particular item. Now, if you click on overlap again, we'll go back to that one again, you'll notice that it shows adjusted. The adjusted layer is shown and the tract layer is shown. Purpose of that is you're trying to show overlaps between tracts, so you need to show the tract layer and you need to have it adjusted to give you the best estimate of what the overlap is. And if you go down to subdividing, you'll notice that it's pretty much the same, except for if you'll on overlaps, you'll see that it says unadjusted calls on tract lines is displayed, and that's for the overlaps, and unadjusted calls on adjusted lines. What this means is that your original data will be shown on those lines, even though the positions of those lines represents their adjusted position. Okay, their best guess at where that line really runs. The original data will be displayed on them. Okay. Now, but the acreage will still show that there's a great deal of precision error here, but the original data will be shown on the lines for both the tracts and for the just regular adjusted line data. And that's for overlaps. If you go to subdividing, you don't want to see that. Why? Well, because when you're subdividing, you're actually dividing a line, and you need to actually see how much distance, how long a particular line is, because some of the subdividing tools give you the power to say, 100 feet off of this particular boundary is where we're going to draw a subdivision line. So therefore, you need to know, how long a particular line is in order to be able to estimate what your offsets need to be for your subdivision. So in that particular case, you want to see the original, not the original data, but you want to see the adjusted data on it and not the unadjusted. So the stuff over here about unadjusted calls on any of these lines is not relevant for subdividing. Now, if we go to the other settings, the input data, adjusted data, and tract data only, these are the actual layers themselves. They will show nothing else. If you click on the input data only, it only shows you the input data. It does not show you the tract acreage or any of the tract data. So you can go over here and turn on and off tracks, and it will not affect that plat. If you click on adjusted, it shows you the calculated values, and it'll show you with the boundary without any closure whatsoever, where everything is adjusted for closure. And it shows the adjusted data on the lines. If you click on tract data, it shows you the tracks, and it does not show you anything else. It will show the adjusted data on the track lines. Okay, so if you need to show the original data on the track lines, you go over here to unadjusted calls on and click on track lines, and it will change it to the original data. Though typically we do want to see the adjusted data. For people who are mapping tracks, they may want to turn on unadjusted calls on, because they're trying to compare one track to another to see if the descriptions of each line match up closely. Rather than see the adjusted data, you want to see the original data that was in the deed. So this facilitates people who are doing title research that want to actually match up two particular tracks together, and they need to see the original data. So they'd be interested in this section here on unadjusted calls on. Well, this basically covers all that you need to know about data layers within Plat Pronto. If you have any further questions, give us a call or send us an email. Thank you.